Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? It's Justin. This is another episode of Community During Chaos, and I'm going to drop that in. This is episode 6, and we've got a great night. We have Zar Josh, we have Selah the Corner, and we have Dee-1. So for those of you who have never tuned into Community During Chaos, we are basically just having discussions every week about all the craziness that's going on and positivity and change that we can bring to our communities, and coming up with solutions and answers to problems rather than kind of just sitting on our hands. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to let some people come into this live, and we'll go live with Zar Josh in a minute. Again, it's Community During Chaos. We've been doing this every week. This is episode 6. So I hope everyone's been liking it. You can, if you have to leave and you can't catch the full thing, it'll be up on our Instagram. It'll be up on Facebook, maybe YouTube. It'll be up as a podcast. So again, we're just having these awesome conversations with artists and trying to figure out how they're processing everything that's going on, whether it be COVID, protesting, rioting, unrest in their communities, just different things, and what are they doing to be problem solvers or have these important discussions. I see a lot of people, a lot of familiar faces. Mitch Darrow, what up? Miles Minnick. All right, so let's go live with Zar Josh. Here we go. The first thing I want to ask you, how has all of this over the past, month, 2 months, 3 months affected you, mentally, spiritually, physically?
Oh man.
Yeah, I know it's gonna get heavy.
That's a broad question, man. Man, personally, like this whole period of time is just like really, it's made me very angry, to be honest with you. Like very upset. And I feel like that's been directed at the government. It's been directed at the church. It's been directed at people in power, the president. You know what I mean? And so, like, as far as the protests, the riots, people getting killed, it's just making me very angry and very upset. And the thing I've tried to do is I tried to like channel that into productive things. So, like going out to protest,
Right.
trying to be a part of the different things that are going on here in Atlanta. So yeah, it's a lot of anger.
Yeah.
But I'm trying
Okay.
to be responsible with it and using it to, be productive.
Right. Right. So, real quick, everybody who's watching, if you have any questions for Josh, save them kind of for the end with him. If we have time, we'll go over them. And also, if you're watching, I learned this from Ruslan, and I forget every week. Hit the heart button. Hit the heart button a bunch of times because we want this IG feed to show up to a lot of people because we're having good conversations here. These are things that I should know because I preach about these things all the time. So you said kind of channeling that creativity into other things. So what are those other things that you have been doing?
Yeah. So just to plug a group that I have been working with, it's called Help Us Form. So at Help Us Form. They are a new like human rights group here in a small town. That's about a half hour right outside of Atlanta, and like they're protesting systemic racism in like small town Georgia, and I feel like that is very scary. But that's one of the things that I personally have been a part of, is like just trying to be a part of change, like not in like huge cities, but in smaller cities, especially since that's the town that I am from.
Right.
So that, then going to protest here in Atlanta. I'm sure you've seen the stuff that's been on the news about us.
Yeah.
Like just last month, there was a man named Rayshard Brooks who was killed by the police. And since then, there's been a ton of protests and demonstrations, a few riots um, to bring about justice in that situation.
Right.
Thankfully, the police officers involved were fired and charged. So, like, been a part of like those protests. And then, as far as like for my social media, um, this is there's been this new campaign that I've started called Black Women Speak, where
Mm-hmm.
like it's just like the black women that I know, dope black women. I have them come on live with me, and they just talk about the topics that they want to talk about. Like not
Yeah.
necessarily trying to explain things or trying to teach people, but just talking about the things that they're passionate about and how they feel. So that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of the ways that I've been, trying to make sense of everything and just trying to do my part essentially.
But that's dope. A lot of things I hear, and I've seen Aaron Knight post about it a lot,
Mm-hmm.
about Black women's voice not being heard and being neglected. So, what are some of the things that you feel that you've learned doing this thing that you're doing every week from Black women?
Um, so speaking of her, she tweeted his tweet that black women are like the most like the least respected people group that exists on the planet, and I completely agree. And like just through these conversations that I've been having with the black women that I know,
Mm-hmm.
feel like the recurring topics that have been going on is like people don't listen to us, and like people they see us as sex objects, or uh, like they don't respect us as human beings. They don't see us as people who can conversate and just exist and be respected simply for their existence. And so I feel
Mm-hmm.
like, especially as Christians, like we should like truly strive to see God in people. You know what I mean? I feel like that has systemically been an issue in the church, and the church is complicit in a lot of these racial issues. And so, just doing like these Black women speak talks has uh, has been like pretty revealing to me as far as like the things that like being male kind of shields me from as far as like privilege and stuff. There's a lot of privilege involved, a lot of things that we just don't see because of who we are. But for the people who do experience those things, we really need to listen to them and, you know, um, like truly take their experiences seriously.
Right. No, that's dope, man. So
Mhm.
so listening and kind of acting. I think I remember that tweet, and then she tweeted something else about how a lot of times they're expected to figure out like a Black man's problem too. Like
Yeah,
reliant on always being a problem solver, but then at the same time not being heard. So I remember there was a conversation like that, and I thought I came up with an example because somebody was asking, someone asked, "What can we do?" And she goes, "Well, if you're asking what can you do, then you're not listening." She was like, "I don't get it." So I likened it kind of to being at a party and you see somebody cleaning up at the
hmm
end of a party, and you wouldn't necessarily go up to that person and be like, "Hey, what can I do?" It's obvious what you can do. Pick up
yeah,
some plates, pick up some cups, throw them in the garbage. Just lend a hand. If you see something, don't ask. Well, that has its caveats, but like, don't necessarily ask and wait for them to ask for help. Like,
right,
hey, I can throw out the garbage too. I got you. I got this. Let me
exactly.
grab some garbage. I'll throw it out. You don't need to ask me. I don't need to ask. So it's kind of like that. If you see something, it's like, okay, and you can proactively encourage or move forward with what's happening, then do that.
Exactly.
Um, so I thought like that kind of came to me on the fly, and I was like, hey, that's a pretty good example for like a lot of things.
Mhm.
But yeah, so for anyone watching, like a lot of times people say, hey, just listen. You're like, well, how do you just listen? Like, what am I listening for? Also take steps. Like, don't just listen. Be active with what you're doing. Actions.
Exactly.
Um, so for you said you've been involved in a lot of protests and walking around and seeing what's going on. So what are some of the things that you've seen during these protests that isn't necessarily spoken about or like passed around by media or people in general?
Probably the fact that the majority of people are peaceful. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? the majority of people are angry and very hurt, but peaceful. And I feel like there's a small like group of people that go to these things intentionally to set things off and to make the protests look bad as a whole. Um, but that's probably the main thing. That and like people just want comfort and healing and justice. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like like being a Christian or like like knowing who God is or who He's supposed to be, like we
Right.
can really help in that. But it's like for some reason, like we're behind. We're not, you know, connecting with the people as a whole. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
main thing.
Have you personally seen people showing up to protest trying to like kick stuff off, trying to like ignite things?
No, not personally. The
Okay.
protests that I've been to have all been like pretty peaceful. Like there's anger and there's hurt and there's
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, like we want to do something, but the majority of it has just been, like law abiding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could kind of imagine like you think of any group of just angry people in large groups,
Hmm.
and it's like how does a group collectively hold in that anger? Because when you think about yourself just being angry yourself,
Hmm.
you just want to like rage, you kind of want to let it out.
Right.
So for most of these protests to actually be peaceful and have all these angry people is pretty remarkable, I would say.
Hmm. That plus I feel like it kind of it's like that kind of depends on the purpose of why you're protesting. Like for instance, if you want to achieve something in a civil way, then you're going to protest peacefully. But if you want to get attention and you want to like set things off on purpose in order to, shake the table, so to speak,
Yeah.
then you may have to do something. Um,
Hmm.
so I feel like it's kind of tied to the purpose of the protest, but I feel like the purpose of the protest are to achieve things in a civil way, and that's why the majority of them are peaceful.
So have you been able to have any discussions with anyone in law enforcement or just anyone in general while out on these protests or even away from it? Like, have you been able to have some of these dialogues with anybody?
Not conversations, but like there have been like times where police officers would speak to protesters and
Hmm.
like kind of hear them out and kind of explain their side of things. That's one of the things that happened when I went to the first protest here in Atlanta. Like there was like a cop trying to explain the situation and just trying to hear from people. But as far as personally, no, I haven't had like a real dialogue with a law enforcement officer.
So I'm curious, have you come to not like an understanding, but like do you after those conversations and dialogues, do you understand better where cops are coming from, or you still think there's just an unnecessary tension?
Um, yeah, like from their point of view, yeah. But at the same time, I feel like the system, from like a grander scale,
Right,
is
collectively.
it's too messed up to reform. I feel, especially at
Hmm.
this point, like it's like there are too many bad people, that work in this field for, like the two or three good cops per precinct to actually make effective change, in my opinion.
Okay. So, in your opinion, what do you think young people, or I guess just people in general, could do better in letting their voice be heard, or standing up for a perceived injustice?
Hmm. I think the first thing that people can do, young people especially, is just taking time to truly listen to the least of these, so to speak. So people who are treated the worst historically and systemically,
Hmm.
those are the people that we need to be taking the time to listen to
Right.
and to help. So that's like black women, black trans men and women, like folks from like that community. Um, let's see, like the gay and queer community, like folks who have been treated wrong for the longest usually speak the most truth in my own personal experience. So I feel like if we take the time to listen to those people the most and we do something about what they're saying, then like hopefully maybe we can make the world a better place. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, have you experienced pushback from Christians or people like on, I know it's a dumb question, on like your platform or fans or even on Rapzilla or whatever? And how do you kind of deal with that?
As far as pushback goes, like not a whole lot with my personal following, because I feel like my following is a lot like me.
Yeah, they
um,
know you. They know you.
yeah,
They know what they're gonna get. If they haven't figured it out by now, then then they're really not listening.
yeah. But as far as like Twitter and like those like larger forums, kind of like a little bit of pushback. You know what I mean? But I mean, like at this point, as far as like trying to explain things to people and trying to break down racism, like I'm past that. I feel like
Hmm.
it's too exhausting, and
Yeah.
like for me, like that's not why God put me on this earth. You know what I mean? I feel
Hmm.
like I feel like people who are creatives, especially, like they put time to learn their craft and to learn their art, so they can use that same amount of time and work um, to learn about the problems in the world and how to help. And that's how I look at it.
So I got one more question for Josh. If anyone's watching has a question, we might have time for like one or two questions. So
Okay.
drop them in. So for you, what are your hopes from the future? For the future, not from the future. We didn't get there yet. But how do you hope, like, you know, and I know this world's crazy right now, but even 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, like looking back at everything that's happened since March, April, May, just every month we're just hit with something else. Like what sort of hope do you have?
I feel like hopefully, like this pushes people to vote one, and to like strive to like be a part of their communities, and like not just vote for the president, but vote for like the people that are like run for your city council or
Hmm.
for like your state congress, state representatives and
Yeah.
senators. You know what I mean? Like truly be a part of change in politics. Oh, yeah, that comment's hilarious. But like truly be a part of the political process, um, and just try to be a part of effective change.
Hmm.
Um, Try to help people who have systemically been oppressed in your communities. Hopefully, like this all helps and like pushes people. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
To be a part of change and progress.
Just let everybody know, where they can find you, where they can, link up with you and check out everything that you're doing.
Yeah. So you can follow me on all social medias at Zar Josh Music on Twitter and IG, and just Zar Josh on Facebook. Um, Make sure to follow me. I got a ton of new music coming this year, so stay tapped in for that. And I'm still doing the Black Women Speak talks. So if you want to tune into those, make sure to follow me on IG. Also, make sure to follow the group that I mentioned earlier at Help Us Form. They're a very dope group that's trying to make real effective change in rural towns across the South. So
All right, dope. So I'll let you go with that. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate
yeah,
you for giving the time and keep up the good work. I'll be following.
appreciate you, Justin.
All right, bro.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And now we're gonna kick it to Selah, the corner. So let's see where we're at. So for everybody tuning in through Selah's Instagram, this is Community During Chaos. Every week we speak to three different artists who are leaders and trying to do things in their community, just trying to be a voice and use their platform during all this chaos, COVID-19, civil unrest, rioting, protesting, whatever it might be. We're here to come up with solutions and have great discussions and dialogue. And this is Selah, the corner. So, man, I went through your Instagram today and was just reading about all the knowledge that you've been dropping on your screenshotted of your tweets. But I know you've been doing a lot of speaking. So before we get to that, how has everything affected you the last couple of months? Especially, you understand what it's like being in New York City or the New York City area with coronavirus and all that too, because that hit us really hard over here.
Yeah.
And now everyone else is experiencing that. So like what's things been like for you?
Um, in the beginning, it was it was very, very different. It's been different for everybody, no matter what, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying, the experience is. But in New York, it was like, I don't know whoever's been to New York. Like, imagine like downtown Manhattan completely like isolated and
it's
decimated, and
crazy.
everybody gone. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then like the protests happened, and it was just been a lot going on. Um, I'm an introvert. I hope y'all know that about me by now. So like quarantining is just like me telling me to wake up. You know what I'm saying? But even I felt it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I can't be around nobody. You know what I'm saying? And it was it puts you in a position as a New Yorker when you're so used to being congested up against people, not being around nobody. Like, it either makes you lean on God real hard, or you just kind of like there's a possibility of depression setting in. There's a possibility
Yeah.
of like a lot of these other things happening. So you just got to be aware, man, and prayerful. But I mean, it's getting better though. It's getting better, man. It's getting better.
Yeah, things are starting to open up around here, which I mean, sounds good, might not be good. We'll see. But
Yeah.
yeah, talking about an empty, empty Times Square, actually had to drive into Manhattan to bring my son to a doctor's appointment from Staten Island, and it only took 30 minutes. And that itself was like, this is almost a 2 hour trip just from traffic, and it took me 30 minutes. So yeah, the city is empty, or was empty. Um, so I saw a video that you were kind of out amongst protesters, walking around. So what was that whole experience like for you? And I know you said majority of the people that were out there were white, I think you said on your
Yeah.
IG post. So what was that
Yeah.
whole thing like?
I mean, my approach to everything is just like my prayer to God every day is to have balance. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Not to be so swayed in any direction that I can't hear His voice. Like, and I think that's what we all might fall short with because we emotional. You know what I'm saying? We emotional
Yeah.
creatures. So resisting that and asking God what to feel at the time is very difficult. So, I work with inner city kids, and our boss was like, yo, let's take him to the protest that was in a predominantly white area of town. So I don't
Hmm.
know what to expect. And I'm talking about 95% of the people protesting, screaming on behalf of black people was white. And I went live so people could understand, like,
Yeah.
these people are under no obligation to do this. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These people were not part of the original people that, quote unquote, you know what I'm saying, however you feel, oppressed black people. They had nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Slavery, discrimination, all of that
Hmm.
systemic oppression, they had nothing to do with it. And they're still speaking on behalf of black people. And I wanted people to see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people who care like that. So it doesn't become a white versus black thing. I didn't like what I was seeing. I didn't like
Yeah.
what I was hearing. So, you know what I'm saying? I went live and I was like, yo, listen, this is happening too. You know what I'm saying? Yes, there is things occurring in this country that's not great. But there are great things happening too. So I'm just trying to like provide balance for my followers. You know what I'm saying? Like, stay prayerful. Don't be so emotional. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like, seek God before you decide how to feel. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's my mission, quite frankly.
So now, were you able to have any discussions or like important talks with anybody while you were out there? Or you were kind of just observing.
Yeah, I was talking with my kids because my kids was trying to, they're traumatized kids from the inner city, but they're trying to learn how to process things anyway.
Hmm.
So I'm a full grown man, and I got a problem processing everything that's happening. Like, it's taking me some time, so I know
Yeah.
it's taking them some time. So I'm just like, I'm trying to explain to them what's going on, talk them through their feelings and stuff like that. Um, Help them see that it's not a white versus black thing right now. Like, look at the
Hmm.
white people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Feel embraced because that's what you are right now. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, I've had a bunch of great talks with young men, young women.
That's great.
You know what I'm saying?
So what is your actual job working with them? Is it like a mentorship program? Like what is it?
It's a lot of everything, quite frankly. I mean, you have clinicians and social workers and stuff like that,
Hmm.
people who have, doctorates in certain like specialties, but I'm the hands-on part. I'm the ground level part. You know what I'm saying? I'm the milieu therapist. I'm talking to them like there's like three men in the world right now, because I've been doing this a long time. There's three men right now that see me as their father from my job. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? Because I taught them how to tie their shoes. I taught them about the birds and the bees. I taught them about death. I taught them about everything. You know what I'm saying? Because their
Mm-hmm.
parents wasn't there. So like that's my job. You know what I'm saying?
It's awesome.
Just trying to fill in whatever gaps I can.
So have you seen, just in your experience working with these people, as a kind of a direct result of your work with them, have some of these kids gone on to like do great things, or become great leaders that are now even paying it back?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. Yes, but probably not the way you think. Because
Mm-hmm.
from a kid who was molested for like the first 10 years of his life, for him to come to me or come to where I'm at and go from that to a father and a husband, holding down a job, no felonies, to
That's
me
a
that's a
success.
to me that's
Yeah.
a super success because that kind of trauma could easily have led him down to the
Mm-hmm.
penitentiary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I get, like I said, I get 3 phone calls every Father's Day from my boys, man. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Telling me Happy Father's Day. They grown men, they got wives, they got kids, they kids in school. Like that's, to me, that's the heroism that I want, man. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's amazing, man. I saw one other thing that you did. I think it's your first post on Instagram. You did something versus for nurses
Yeah,
back in April.
yeah.
What was that? I totally missed out on that.
So versus for nurses, man, like, yo, with me, and this is just the way my father trained me. When something crazy happens, when something chaotic happens, you either have a choice of yielding to the chaos or leaning on a God of order.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And God will be glorified through the order that's operating in your life despite the chaos. So you grab on what you can control and you move some. So I'm like, you know what? I still have a job, praise
Mm-hmm.
God. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I can still provide for myself and my loved ones, praise God. So what am I going to do with that privilege? Because I'm in a position of privilege at that point because there's a lot of unemployed people. All
Mm-hmm.
right, I got a studio in my crib. I can rap a little bit. Let me go feed the hungry. And yo, man, I chopped my future price in half and I gave 100% of the proceeds to the men
Dope.
and women on the front lines in the medical services. And we fed 15 families, man, 15 strangers I ain't never met. I filled their whole refrigerator up. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy that you mentioned that because God was dealing with me today about reloading that whole thing. Like I might do it again. You know what I'm saying? Try to get to
Nice.
like 50 or 60. So yeah, versus for nurses, it was a tremendous success, man. God was definitely glorified, Joe.
Now, how did you pick the people that you were going to bless? Was it like random, or people like sent you people?
So the hardest hit, one of the hardest hit hospitals for COVID-19, and I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about people dying every hour type, was the main hospital in Queens. So I had a friend there that worked there as a respiratory therapist, and I said, Joe, I
Okay.
need everybody's name that's struggling right now. Every nurse, every practitioner, every therapist that's struggling to put food on the table or struggling with daycare because they gotta have somebody to watch their kids. Like if you got somebody that need money, give me their name. And she just started throwing names at me every day,
Wow.
every day. And every time she threw a name, I had bread to give them. So like, I stopped at 15 and I think I might reload that joint. It felt right, you know what I'm saying? And I'm still able to do it, so why not?
Yeah, man, and yeah, my bad for totally missing that. That's something that I would have highlighted on the Rapzilla news show that I do every week. So if you're doing it again, I'm gonna include that. So let me know when that thing's gonna happen. Um,
Yeah.
so for you, I know you're black and you're Latino. So
Mhm.
what kinds of what kind of perspective do you have in regards to everything that's going on, just because you're biracial, and you can kind of see things in different lenses?
Um, well, I mean, as a black man, I have eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like it's this the visual of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's so powerful. Everything that's happening. It's hard not to get into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, so as a Cuban man, I still have unresolved situations with my Cuban side too. Like the
Yeah.
way we as black people are trying to resolve these issues here, I still resolve my situations. Cause like, I love my Latin roots, but that's recent.
Yeah.
Like for most of my life, I didn't want nothing to do with it because I felt like they mistreated the black side of my family because they wasn't Latino. You know what I'm saying? Because they wasn't
Mm-hmm.
Cuban. So I just
Mm-hmm.
left it. I left it alone. I didn't even learn the language because I was so angry. You know what I'm saying? Now
Yeah.
I understand it fluently, but I don't speak it because of that. And as of like the last 5 years, I've been embracing it again because my grandmother asked me to. So as a Cuban man, I I'm still struggling with that. But as a black man, seeing what's going on, it's pushed me to be solution based. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
point out problems anymore. I'm not interested in pointing out problems anymore. I'm not interested in pointing fingers anymore. I'm interested in getting to the bottom of stuff, getting to the origins of stuff,
Yep.
and getting solutions. That's all I want. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
everything else is a waste of time to me. Like, if the dialogue ain't pushing towards solutions, I don't want to have it. If the action ain't pushing towards the solutions, I don't want to have it. So like, that's how it's impacted me. Like, it's forced me to get in God's face and ask Him what the solutions are. You know, and
Yeah.
I just relay that information to people.
Yeah. And you're doing it now. And that was kind of one of the reasons why I started this whole thing every week. I'm like, everyone says, let's talk about it. Let's have a discussion. Let's do it. But like, what are people actually doing? So I wanted to talk to these people and say, hey, what are you actually doing? And for people that are watching, how can we support the things you're doing or be inspired to do more ourselves? Like, how can we give back to the community during this chaos? So yeah, I feel that sentiment 100%. So for you, how has just being quarantined and all of that stuff too affected your job, just working with these inner city kids? Like, I'm sure you haven't been able to meet them or spend any one-on or as much one-on-one time. Like, how has that worked for you?
I mean, yo, man, children are wonderful because they adapt so much better than we do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like they get used to stuff so much more quickly than adults, and they find a comfortable space in any situation fairly quickly, even when
Yeah.
it's traumatic. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
they they're kids. It's the summertime. They want to go outside. Some of them are seniors in high school. You know what I'm saying? Their prom was taken away. Their summer was taken
Yeah.
away. You know what I'm saying? So like they had teenage reactions. You know what I'm saying? But after a while, they just got with it and was like, you know what? Let's make the best of it. And they're still sponges, man. Whatever you put on the table for them to soak up, they'll soak it up, man. So you just put the right stuff on the table. You know what I'm saying? And it's been cool. It's been cool.
What are kind of your hopes moving forward? What would you like to see happen with everything that's been going on?
Um, I would love to see more solution based activity, man. Like I feel like too many people are using this moment as their doorway to their 15 minutes of fame.
Oh,
And
right.
I feel like too many people are starved for validation when they should be like employees of the solution. Like they want
Mm-hmm.
they want their moment. Everybody want their moment, their moment, their moment. Let me say this. Let me say something that's gonna be as provocative as possible instead of like offering something real to the table. You know what I'm saying? So I want people's hearts to change toward solutions. You know what I'm saying? And we both know that God is the only solution. So turn their hearts to God because that's where the solution is gonna come from. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would love to
Mm-hmm.
see. Just less individual mindsets, more community based mindsets. Social media to the activism on the streets. Like, yo, just have a sincere, genuine heart for change. Like, that's all I really want.
Yeah, no, it's a valid point. And I'm not trying to shame anybody when I say this, but the amount of songs and different things that have come in over the last couple of months that are, about quarantine, about COVID-19, about George Floyd, about whatever it might be, it's like 5 to 10 of them a day.
Right.
And I would love to see, and I'm not saying anyone's not, but like what happens after you drop that song? Like, what are you doing? Are those
Right.
funds going somewhere? Are you
Right.
actively engaging in your community, or you're like, let me just drop a song because that's popular at the moment. Maybe I could say some things in it, and people will give me lots of follows and whatever. So yeah, I know it's definitely not the heart of everybody, but at the same time, like, let's, like you said, let's keep moving forward. Like, we can do better than songs. We can do better than, you know, different things like that. Where could everybody follow you or follow what you're doing and all that?
Everywhere it's I am the corner. IAMTHACORNER. Everywhere I'm at, that's the name. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. I'm trying to get more active, man. It's just, you know, I'm being more active because of the situation, but like naturally,
Yeah.
I'm not inclined to be like on Instagram and social media like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting better though, but you know, if you talk to me, I will talk back. If you ever have a question, I'm glad I'm here. If you ever have a question about the Bible, I will 100% get back to you in as soon a time as possible, because that's paramount to me. If you DM me about music, your chances are slim. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be honest. So if you ever want to holler at me about anything concerning the Bible or concerning a Christian walk, I'm with it 100%. Just don't be mad if I don't hit you back, Abe, about your new record. Like,
Oh, we got 3 questions that came in, so let's try to hit them. I mean, as quickly as possible. So we got what do you think is the most effective approach to make a difference?
lifestyle. People, everybody's looking at you. Everybody's listening to what you say,
Mm-hmm.
and that's cool. But everybody's gonna look at you when you're not talking anymore. Like when you stop speaking and you start living, that's when your real message is gonna get spoken. So just live. Just live the way you're talking.
So how can people be a part of Verses for Nurses if they don't rap?
You can donate. Everybody who donated to me from Versus for Nurses, I gave them the name and position of the person that they was helping, so they know. Like I don't play with that. But what God gave me, everything that's given to me, I give out. So like if you want to help somebody, you can donate, hit me in the DM, we can figure it out, and I'll let you know exactly where your donation went.
How do you educate a friend without seeming one-sided is what they're asking.
All right, so people learn the best when you're able to paint a simple picture for them. Okay. So one of my friends asked me to explain what white privilege was to me, like because they didn't understand what people were talking about. So I could easily go the negative route and be like vicious and you guys do this and you. I didn't want to do that because I know he's not going to absorb anything. So what I said was, I was like, "Are you a driver?" He says, "Yes." I was like, "Do you ever be at a green light and about to pull off and somebody walks in front of you?" Yes. Does it get you upset? Yes. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because the pedestrian has the right of way. Right. That's what white privilege is to black people. We feel like y'all are the pedestrians and we're driving and y'all can do whatever y'all want and nobody can say anything because y'all are pedestrians. Now, whether that's the facts or not is not what we're talking about.
Right.
But the fact is that
That's
that's
just
how
the
a lot of
feeling.
us see it. Yeah, that's the feeling.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he was like, "Yo, thank you so much. I never got that before." So like, if you can paint pictures like that for people, it's much easier to get somebody to understand where you're coming from rather than attacking them. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing on that.
Yeah, but that's you, man, with words. You're really good at painting pictures.
Well,
You're
but everybody has
not
that skill
everyone
set.
throws those words together like you. All right, this is the last question for Selah. I personally don't feel the black community has a leader. Who do you see as a leader for the black community? I guess that's kind of a broad question.
I think any centralization of leadership that isn't based in the Bible is just something positive waiting. Don't subscribe to any notion of whatever this is. You know what I'm saying? I think
Mm-hmm.
if God puts somebody there, that's one thing. If he puts them there to be organic, it won't be nothing like elected or nah, God will place
Yeah.
somebody in that position. But I feel like the more man has hand on things, the more things can go left. So I just pray and ask God how to be a leader in my own community every day and for what it needs to be. You know what I'm saying?
Dope. Dope. All right, man. So that's gonna do it. Thanks for joining me on here. Appreciate everything that you're doing. Let me know about the Verses for Nurses thing. Definitely wanna highlight that. And I mean, hopefully I'll see you soon. You might miss out on
Yeah,
that GOM show
yeah,
this
yeah,
winter fall,
yeah,
but I'll catch you sooner than later. We're kind of in the same spot,
yeah. We
as
are.
close as we can be, as most people in this community are usually super far away from each other.
Word, man. Word. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for everything that you do for Christian hip hop, bro. Thank you, man.
Thank you, man. Thanks for saying that and appreciate you. Talk to you later, bro. Peace.
Peace, man.
We got the homie Dee-1 in the building, and he said he's already here because he is a man of his word. So here we go. Dee-1 in the building. Hey.
Wow.
What up, bro? How are you?
Man, all is well, baby. You know how it is, bro. Quarantine shorty. That's me. I'm staying put and trying to continue the mission and continue the movement, bro. While staying healthy, bro, mentally, physically, and spiritually. So that's it.
You always stay healthy because you're always wearing some sort of coat or hoodie. Whenever I see you, this man's never catching a cold. Saw him in Atlanta. It was like 90 degrees out, and he's wearing a hoodie and long pants. I was like, yo, this guy's crazy. I took a picture with you, and I'm wearing shorts, and you're wearing the hoodie, and someone was like, I can't tell what's going on in this picture. What's the temperature like?
That's what was that? That was A3C?
Yeah.
Bro. Yeah, I remember that, man. Now that's all good, man. That was a good day, man. I don't know, bro. I think I got used to that. I got used to having something some kind of hood on, whether it's a windbreaker, or a hoodie. I'm just used to it, bro. So yeah, it's my comfort zone now. But I got basketball shorts on at the same time. So it's like long sleeves and short pants. That's my
You
thing.
you're just confused. Yo,
That's
so
it, bro. That's it.
everybody who's tuning in right now from D1's page, my name is Justin. I'm the editor of Rapzilla, and we are doing Community During Chaos. This is episode 6. So for the last 6 weeks, I've been getting 3 artists per episode to kind of talk about what they're doing within their communities, coming up with solutions and answers to the chaos that's happening in the world right now. And I know that Dee-1 is somebody who's always looking on that mission vision.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm messing up on that mission vision, looking to help out his community and do great work. So I knew I had to get Dee-1 in here. So the first thing I want to ask you is, like, with everything that's been going on these last couple of months between Corona and what happened with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and the protest, how has this impacted you? Just like up here or just, wherever?
Well, if the first thing you mentioned was coronavirus, bro. I've been impacted uh physically, been impacted I'll say emotionally more than physically. Been impacted because, man, one of my best friends, his daddy died from
Ah,
coronavirus.
man,
So
sorry to hear that.
it got really real quick for me. So I felt that because although that's not my daddy, it's one of my best friends' pops.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
definitely felt that. Then two of my blood cousins contracted coronavirus.
Hey,
Yeah, bro. So it's affected me like that. It affected me in terms of it's altered the course of what I do, man. I've missed out on probably at this point about 40 concerts that I would have had
wow.
between March and like missed out on like over 6 figures worth of income for sure. Because of coronavirus. So definitely felt it on that level. And instead of focusing on what I've been missing out on because of it,
Yeah.
I have shifted my focus to what is this an opportunity to do, and this is an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to number one, bro. I'm still in a great position by the grace of God, so because of that,
It's great.
I'm thankful for the position God has me in, and I'm also strategizing like how I can be an aid and an assistance to people who need a light and need resources during
Yeah.
this time. So that's what I've been doing, bro. I've been thinking more about how to adjust my mindset and my mentality to where I can be a resources and an outlet for other people, bro. And that's what coronavirus has done is I have felt it on multiple levels, but it's also shifted my thinking to how I can help people. As far as the George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, um, uh, stuff. As far as them getting murdered, bro, like I'm gonna just tell you the truth, bro. That's not anything new in our country. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, it feels like a continuance of something that we've been seeing for a while, which is unarmed black men and women being killed, by law enforcement. So because of that, uh, this particular go round, it just felt like the camel's back finally broke in
It was
terms of,
different.
yeah, like it felt like the camel's back finally broke in terms of people being fed up. And I caught some of your conversation with Selah, and I agree with what you were saying, which is like, from an artistic standpoint, is it just something that is timely and convenient for a bunch of people to rap about now, or
Hmm.
is it something where that frustration and that art that is producing in people is followed up by action items, and followed up
Yes,
by
absolutely.
tangible ways that people are planning on helping out. And with that being said, um, it's been making me think like that too, because I can't lie, bro. There's a part of me that just thinks, man, are people just tired of being quarantined and feeling like, yo, I'm ready to just get out there in the streets. So therefore, what we doing? We protesting today? Bet I'm just gonna go protest. Are people
Yeah.
just doing that, or is it
Is it
really?
genuine?
Are companies or corporations just saying Black Lives Matter because they know that's the cool thing to do now? Are the Washington Redskins really concerned about changing their team name, or is it that they feel
Yeah.
the pressure from society? You heard me? And I am sitting back and kind of wondering about the sincerity of some of these actions and gestures during this time, because this is nothing new to me, man. To be fighting for equity, equality, freedom, love, justice. Like, that's why I got into the rap game, is so I could have an amplified platform to keep doing it, because I was doing it before there was a Dee-1.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely, man. You see everything that happens, and it's like every single day, it's like another thing, another, and I don't want to call it controversy, but in a way, anything that does happen because of these actions is a controversy, whether it be, you know, Aunt Jemima, whether it be the Redskins, whether it be, like what are we talking about today? What sort of change is trying to be implemented today? And it's like it kind of goes back to, it's like, hey, we didn't necessarily ask for any of these things. We just want people to do better at what they're supposed to be doing. Um, everyone's like, that's great that you're going to change Aunt Jemima, but like, I just want justice for Breonna Taylor. Uh,
Right.
I didn't wake up this morning like, oh, let's take down the syrup. Like, like it's
Yeah.
just like we're more that becomes the highlight, and people become more concerned about business and PC or cancel culture than they actually do about an actual human's life. And then you lose some of that steam and some of the message that everyone's trying to convey. So it's trying to like navigate those waters of like, is this what we should be fighting right now, or should we kind of stick the course, on this side of everything?
Yeah, bro. And if anything, man, hopefully people hopefully people walk out of this time being forced to have confronted some realities that they didn't have to think about, because most of our lives don't consist of, like, even if you have experienced racism or discrimination, um it's something that usually happens in an isolated instance, to where someone is like, yo, yeah, the cops did pull me over, and they were on some craziness, on some BS. That happened 3 times in my life or whatever. But usually your whole life isn't defined by that, to where even the woke have their moments to where they can be sleep. You know what I'm saying? Even those who are woke have their moments where they can be sleep. Hopefully this makes it to where the ones who are woke are even more woke, and the ones who were asleep and who were knocked out and snoring, they've been awakened by what's going on in the world. Because a lot of people, bro, we only feel something in those moments where it's affecting us. You know what I'm saying?
Where it's relevant to you.
Like, bro,
Yeah.
bro, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I ain't never told nobody this before, but I had some brothers that was threatening to kill me one time. They had a gun to my head. Actually, it was this temple. They had a gun to this temple right here, and threatening to kill me and robbing us at gunpoint, me and my homie.
Wow.
And that was at That was at 4 or 5 p.m. And by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock that night, I was in the club. You know what I'm saying? Like at a party. Because I was shook in that moment, but outside of that moment, you get back to reality and you're like, oh, they do have that big party tonight. Let me go there. And it's like, nah, metaphorically speaking, like we don't need to be like that outside of this moment. We shouldn't react just because of a tragedy. We should walk around with that mentality that we know that this type of stuff, like we know that the world isn't where it should be. We know that race relations aren't where they should be. So this should become a day-to-day lifestyle to where we having these uncomfortable conversations and we having these more love-filled interactions. You heard me?
Yeah.
So hopefully,
Well,
hopefully that happens, bro.
yeah, well, that's like the whole church thing. Like a lot of people are only Christians inside church. And then once they leave, it's like, oh, back to normal. But like these things and us working in communities and having tough dialogue and just trying to be problem solvers, like this is an everyday thing. If you take a day off of being a problem solver, then a problem is going to happen and nobody's there to solve it. So it's just kind of moving and making sure all of your goals have some sort of purpose. And it's tough. I mean, it's tough to constantly be like, all right, let's solve. I spoke to Cannon a couple of weeks ago, and he's at the point where, he's done. He's like, I got to step away for a couple of weeks. I got to get off social media. I got to just get away from everything because he's like, I can't even, I can't read my Bible right now. I can't even speak to God. There's just so much going on in my mind. And that's okay too. But you got to step back. You can't like kind of play both worlds, because if you play both worlds, you're not giving your best to either one of them.
Wow, that's real, bro. Yeah, some people need to step back and other people need to step up. I'm one of the people that need to step up right now. I'm like, I know that I got the capacity right now to be
Yeah.
able to carry the torch of leadership for people who need love and light right now. I'm like, I got a lot of love to give, a lot of light to shine, and a lot of resources that I can also utilize, man. So some people need to step back and some people need to step up, man. But either way, we got to step, and stepping is what's most important right now, because a lot of people, we get complacent and we just sit, and we get comfortable. But right now, it's a lot of stepping happening. You heard me? Big steppers gotta embrace this time, man.
I mean, so hit me. What's some of the big stepping you're doing in your community right now?
So
What you got going on?
yeah, what was that? Like that was Thursday. We donated thousands and thousands of these face masks right here that you see. This is a 50 pack right here. To the inmates here in New Orleans. You heard me? So the inmates have been underserved as far as getting PPE, personal protective equipment. So I was able to partner with a real dope organization,
Nice.
Masks for the People. That's right, and making sure that the inmates all like they laced up. Now they got thousands and thousands of these things. So that was cool. To partner with them and have the mayor come out and give it her blessing, and have the sheriff come out and give it his blessing. So that was real cool. Also made a sizable donation to the JJIC. So that's our version of juvenile detention that we have down here in New Orleans, because they needed masks as well, but they also needed hand sanitizer. So we made sure we hooked them up and took care of them in that regard.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's something that's been cool, that's been tangible that I've been able to do. Outside of that, bro, I usually try to try to not like chase the moment when it comes to something happening in the world, gotta make a song about that. I usually try not to, and I opt to make songs about things that really tug at my heartstring, man. So
Yeah.
when coronavirus first hit, I was chilling. I wasn't worried about making a song, but the mayor of New Orleans hit me and asked me to make a PSA, urging my fans, because we were like one of the top 3 cities in the world as far as the rate that it was growing. And
Wow.
so I said, well, Mayor, if you Madam Mayor, if you are requesting I make a PSA, let me add a twist to it that I know will make way more people actually take it, take heed to it and actually tune in. People gonna scroll right past the regular PSA, but
Right.
I made a song called Corona Clap, and the same message that she wanted me to put in the PSA, I was able to deliver it in the Corona Clap song and actually include the mayor in the song itself. Like in the music video
Dope.
is Mayor Latoya Cantrell from here in New Orleans. And that ended up reaching millions of people, getting millions of views online across all platforms. So that was a form of being able to let people know it's
Yeah.
playing a role in telling people how serious this is. And there's a commercial running all throughout Louisiana right now, to where I partnered with an organization called Get Serious Louisiana, to do a commercial, just utilizing the fact that I do have a name, I do have pull down here. And so when they see me on TV, they're like, man, look at Dee-1. What is Dee-1 talking about? Oh, Dee-1 is telling us to wear our masks. Dee-1 is telling us to sanitize our hands. I bet. Like those are things on an artistic level, on a me being a public figure, type of level. Then on a personal level, bro, there's a lot of people who I have prioritized during this time in terms of making sure that I can have one-on-one conversations with them to just make sure
Yeah.
that their mentality is healthy right now. Because mental warfare is something that you got to be conscious and cognizant of. I see I got my team mission vision in the building. A lot of people that are on my Patreon page, they are in here and they know because I share a lot with them that I don't share with social media. And I've actually been on some virtual calls that were with professional therapists,
So
to where we're partnering and we're talking with professional therapists, myself and other artists, to help make sure that everyone is in the right frame of mind right now, man, because it's a lot of people who, yeah, bro, they're taking a hit right now and they can't think past like how they're personally being affected and if they're going to get through this time. So I just know that the mental warfare is something that we got to help people. We
yeah,
got to help
yeah.
people not just physically, bro, but just on a conversational tip. So I've been there. I've been a resource for people on a personal level, just like that. And I feel like I'm good at being empathetic, bro, towards people's situations and whatnot. So that's something that I never discredit. Is like if I can make some personal time to talk to somebody one on one and help readjust their mindset, that might not be sexy
Absolutely.
that might not be sexy to the world. You heard me, but I know that could be something that changes the direction of somebody's life.
No, absolutely. That's amazing, man. And I'm glad you're doing that. Now, I wanted to ask you because you said, you have a name in your community, like people know you. So have you been able to have discussion with law enforcement in New Orleans and where you're at and kind of come together with police or police departments to just be like, hey, let's talk about this. Let's do something. Or is that something that you haven't had the opportunity to do yet?
So my little sister is a police officer. So when I talk to her, I talk to law enforcement. You know what I mean?
You're
Um,
cheating.
yeah, I'm right. So uh, the closest I've come outside of speaking with her, and of course talking about the elephant in the world of what's going on right now. Outside of that, has been speaking to the sheriff, man. Like so, the other day when I gave away the masks, we did the press conference, but then we got to really build. Myself, the mayor, and the sheriff, we really got to build and talk about what we're all facing right now as far as that disconnect between the level of trust that the community has with
Hmm.
law enforcement and how to alleviate that tension that exists right there. And I am I'm doing something on August. I think they rescheduled it for August 8th. This is not in New Orleans, but this will be in Baton Rouge, which is another huge city
Yeah,
about an
yeah.
hour away from New Orleans. I'm doing something to where I'll be speaking with their mayor and with their top law enforcement officials and basically hosting a town hall. It'll be a virtual town hall to where it speaks about what discussions
Hmm.
that people like you and I are having. What,
Okay.
what what discussions do we need to be having directly with law enforcement, and we'll be talking about those things. So, that's been the furthest extent of my talks with law enforcement during this time. What is cool, bro, is like people repurpose content. So I totally forgot, Jay, that in 2016, bro, I did a I did what would that be? I guess that was a Zoom call or something. One of those platforms. I did a call with some educators and with a law enforcement official, and this was after another unarmed black person got killed. We did one of these calls to where I was speaking directly with a police officer about a lot of what's going on and what we can do. To this was in 2016, right? And that conversation has resurfaced. I see that organization has begun tweeting and further promoting that conversation because, like I said, dog, this stuff ain't new. Like this is not a new topic at all, bro. This been going on, since this been going on since Rodney King got beat down, bro. And that
And
was
even before that.
yeah, and even before then, but it was on camera that time.
Yeah.
It's been going on to where, yeah, bro, like I've been having several talks like that, man, and hopefully I'm never opposed to having more of them.
Yeah, I think it's wild with this circumstance. I think the African American community is kind of like so desensitized by all these things. Like it's like, oh, it's another one. But this time, everyone else who's not black, it affected them for whatever reason. Like, it's just this catalyst. So while you had the group that's always desensitized, you had everyone else who's like desensitized to the fact, yeah, that doesn't really matter. It's whatever. But for whatever reason, everyone else woke up this time. And that's why, like, this one, for whatever reason, has become such a big deal and is world changing because it's, people have protested all over the world. And it's kind of insane. So hopefully, change comes out of this. The
Man, you sound like you was just singing the hook to my single I put out last week. That's literally the hook, bro.
Yeah.
Been a long time coming, but a change gonna come, man. Like we basically took that wordplay from that old classic song and flipped it. But I agree with you, bro. Like I couldn't say it any better myself. Like this has been happening for a long time, but the word change is something that feels more relevant than ever as far as what's actually happening right now. Like it really feels like change is occurring instead of just being talked about, and that's powerful.
Yeah. Now let me ask you real quick before we get to what I know you want to talk about. Okay. So how has this been for your sister as a cop? Because I know being a cop is not very popular right now, especially I'm in New York City, so people got lots of problems with the cops in New York City, and I know a lot of cops too. Where I live in Staten Island, New York, it's like everyone here is some sort of city worker, cop, teacher, fireman, sanitation. Like I'm surrounded by cops like at all times. So having a sister, but then also being someone involved in the community and kind of understanding the tension that's going on. What's that like?
It's scary sometimes, bro, because I don't want my sister to catch the hate and a lot of the disdain that people have for police in general. I'm like, whoa, she's not just any policeman. No, this is my baby sister. You know what I mean? Like it's tough sometimes, bro, because I know that the good cops right now, a lot of them are suffering for a few bad cops. So I never want to make it seem like that's not something that's on my mind. That actually helps me to maintain a level of respect for police that I would hope that everyone else would have. Number one, we need police, and number two, there are a lot of good police, and that's something that I hope people will. I think any logical person will be able to acknowledge those two truths. That I just spoke. But it is tough, man, because when people say F the police and whatnot, or when people plot on things that they want to do to the police, they don't care. It's almost like I don't care who, as long as you got that badge and that blue uniform on, you could get it. And that's not something that I agree with at all, and that's not something that makes me excited when I think about having a family member that's on the force.
Yeah, one of my cousins who's a police officer said nobody nobody hates a bad police officer more than a good police officer, because that spoils the whole party. And you see the narrative in the news that's like, oh, all these rioters and looters and whatever, but majority of these protests were peaceful. So again, it's a case of like a couple of people came in and just wrecked everything for everybody. And you're going to find that in kind of every situation in life. There's always going to be somebody that ruins something good. Unfortunately, when it's a police officer who is a bad cop, it's magnified because there's lives at stake. And this is why these things happen. So all right, so I'm going to ask you about this new song that you're going to be dropping, called Racist Christians. So this has never been announced. This has never been announced before.
Exclusive.
Except when we were on the phone talking about it.
Yeah, that's the
But so right now you guys are getting an exclusive. Dee-1 is dropping a song this Friday called Racist Christians. And obviously that title is going to draw some attention. It's going to be polarizing, maybe a bit controversial. So let's get ahead of it, and you could talk about it first, before anyone hears it.
Yeah, bro. Racist Christians is dropping on Friday because amidst all of these talks about race relations and everything, look, somebody said "wow" in the comments. They said I was here for it. Yeah. Well, racist Christians. I just felt like it's time that somebody made a song, calling out the fact that it is a complete contradiction to be a Christian and to be racist. Like those two things should not be able to coexist. Yet we have a
They do.
long history in the church of blatant examples of racism and people almost feeling like, hey, that's separate from my faith in God. And I'm here to call it out, and to not only call it out, but to create a forum to where we can actually discuss this. Jay, I'm gonna tell you the truth, dog. I haven't ever personally experienced racism in the church. I count that as nothing short of a blessing. But when I put that concept out there, to just people like on a creative level, me talking through it with people, I realized that I was in the minority, bro. Like a lot of people I talked to were like, heck yeah, I've experienced racism in the church. And I'm like, what? And they're like, man, what? You want to know the story? And I'm listening, and people got real stories about this stuff. Or if they don't have stories, they know somebody with a story. And once I
Yeah.
realized how prevalent this was, I said, all right, what we have to do amidst this time is make sure that as Christians, we come out of this thing stronger and more together. So, black people want to be more unified. The world wants to be more unified, but as Christians, we also need to prioritize being more unified. Anything that is an institution wants to be better after this. The NFL wants to be better. They want to give black coaches more of a shot. The NBA wants to be better. They want to allow players to say socially conscious messages on the back of their
Jersey.
jerseys.
Yep.
Okay. Every institution wants to be better. The church needs to be better after this time. And what better way, you understand me, to make sure that can happen than to address an issue that is not, it's not a fairy tale. Like racism, racist Christians do exist, and they have to be spoken to. That doesn't mean they have to be killed. That doesn't mean that they have to be uh uh kicked out of the church, but they have to be identified, and
Right.
they have to be approached, and then taught and loved and hopefully nurtured in a way to where they make a decision to want to be better. And I'm about that. You hear me?
Yeah, and you keep saying better. The church actually needs to be the best.
The
Like
best.
everyone else can get better, but the church needs to lead the way and set the bar. So they should be up here, and then everyone else should be following in their steps.
Wow. What up, Chad? He said,
Wow.
repent and change. You heard me? So repent and change, bro. Like at this point, bro, I'm in the headspace as a human being and as a man of God to where I'm like, bro, like I will speak to anybody from any walk of life who may have animosity towards me because of my race, or another person because of their socioeconomic status, or any of that stuff, I can speak to them from a place of knowledge, a place of facts, but a
Yep.
place of uh boldness, to where it's like, yo, we need to stop beating around the bush, because if you are a racist Christian, this is what that means. This is why I know that you haven't fully embraced the message of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like having those talks, that'll be the first time that a lot of these people have been confronted with truth like that, but in a way it's all about delivery. So in a way to where they don't feel like even when you hear the song, bro, the song is like, it's equivalent to, like, if you are, let's see, what's the best way to say this? The song is equivalent to you standing real close to somebody, looking them dead in the eyes and talking to them, and but you're not touching them to where they feel like, bro, like, hold on, man, I feel attacked. I want to fight now because you're pushing in my forehead. But it's like, no, but I'm standing right here in front of your face, looking you right in the eyes, telling you the truth, what you need to hear, what you should have been heard. You heard me? And I'm right here. So you're going to have to confront this right now. But I'm not disrespecting you, because I might be spitting on you, but that's on accident because I'm standing so close. But outside of
Social
that,
distance, D. Social
yeah, I got to,
distance.
right. Hold on.
Back it up a little bit.
You know what? I'm gonna talk to you, but I'm gonna talk to you like this. You heard me? And I'm standing right here talking to you, but I'm not gonna disrespect you, and I'm not gonna put my hand in on your face. Like, that's equivalent to what this song is, bro. It's just like a very straightforward, direct, like, yeah, y'all
Yep.
need to hear this, and we gonna talk though. Like, what's up? You know?
I like that, man. This is that's your little promo right there. So you can take this video after you cut this little part out and be like, yo, you want to hear about this song? I got you right here.
I
Right,
got you
right
right
in your
here,
face.
partner, with my mask on. Right,
Right
right.
in your face. I think it's pretty wild you've never experienced racism in the church, but I think it's kind of cool because you're in New Orleans, and New Orleans is just different, man. Like, I haven't been there, but just knowing what I know about New Orleans and the culture and the amount of people that are there, it's like, how could you be racist in a city like that where everybody is like culturally diverse there? So that's probably why, like, you wouldn't have experienced that. And I think that's an important discussion too, because a lot of people don't get it because of that.
Yep.
Like, people like, oh, there's racism here. And that's because they're not around anybody that's different from them, or, a majority of one type of person than the other. So sometimes, like, when people don't believe you, it's not more so that they're like, they don't believe you in terms of like, you're lying, you're making this up. It's just kind of ignorance that they don't have that actual life experience. And that's okay. That's when you show them, okay, let me tell you this story, or let me show you this story. Let you listen to the song Racist Christians. And,
Yes.
that's how you become a problem solver and a solution.
Bro, it's definitely a teaching tool, and it's definitely a conversation starter. Like that song, I used to be a teacher, so when I
Yeah.
think about the purpose of different songs that I create, sometimes I create songs to provide hope and provide healing for people. Other times I create songs to simply create a forum to where this issue can be discussed, and this can be the icebreaker right here, is this song.
Hmm.
So that's what Racist Christians is, bro. It's meant to spark conversation and dialogue amongst people who may not be talking about this topic, because unfortunately it exists.
Yeah.
And like you said, the church needs to be the best, the tightest, institution and organization out of all of these organizations in the world, man. So I agree with you.
What would you say is kind of your hopes or your dreams coming out of all of this
Oh man, if the
for
if
the future? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, bro, if people will stop, if we could kill racism, um then we would start focusing on, instead of the skin problem that the world has, we'll start focusing on the sin problem. Because even without racism, uh, evil still exists in this world. Satan is still real. And I feel like racism oftentimes is a distraction, you understand? Because it distracts us from focusing on the spiritual war that's really taking place, good versus evil. You heard me? God versus the
Hmm.
devil. And we spend all of our lives, not our time, our lives, dog. My grandpa is 90 years old, and he's telling me stories from when he worked in the post office in his 30s. So, and experiences that he had, all the way to right now, for him to have to sit here and look at the news and be like, dang, they killed Martin Luther King in 1968. Who would have thought that 52 years later, we still sitting here talking about and going through
Yeah.
this stuff? So the skin problem that the world has, bro, like, is such a distraction from the bigger war that's being fought, which is the spiritual war. So my goal is that if we could go ahead on and kill racism, or get as close as possible to killing it, then it would help us further the conversation about what it takes to draw people closer to Christ. Because a lot of people are not focused on getting closer to Christ right now, because they feel like, man, before you talk to me about Christ, I want to make sure that somebody comes and talks to me about how I can feel safe going out for a drive, in my car, or
Yeah.
how I can feel safe just being black in America. And it's like, you're right, bro. We can't ignore that. We can't ignore that. And I just know that the devil is like, yeah, I'm gonna keep racism at the front of y'all mind, because y'all can't even focus on me. Y'all can't even focus on Satan when y'all so focused on racial tension in the world. So that's my goal, bro, is that racism could be drastically reduced to the point where we can start focusing on the spiritual war that's at hand, man.
Yep. And a whole new set of problems to deal with. But this should be like the easiest one to deal with, right?
Fact.
But it's not. This one seems so easy. Somebody said that they heard Sundays are the most racist day of the week. I would say, I think the phrase is most segregated day of the week.
There you
And
go.
that's if you think about church, except I guess if you're in New Orleans, but like, you have your black churches, your white churches, your Korean churches, your Spanish churches. Like there's always, whenever you go to a church and just think about anybody watching, it's like, who's the majority there? What is your culture? And then look around you. And most likely, if you will be the culture of that church you're in. And if you're not, then you're the minority in that church, and you definitely feel a certain way about being in there too. Like, being one of two black people in a majority white church, or, being a white person in a Korean church. Like, things are different, obviously. So that's kind of where that phrase comes from. Somebody asked, how do you continue to kill the fear of police that black people deal with?
How do you continue to kill the fear of police that black people deal with? Well, I think that black people have to have an opportunity to see and hear from police who are some of the good ones. Like there's a lot of good police out there, but if we never see and hear from them, and if we never, then we'll just be like, man, yeah, I heard that exists, but I ain't never experienced it. So it just feels like a myth to me. And the more, like, I love the police who are active in the community, in the communities that they serve, to where there's actually a relationship that exists between them and the residents. I think that those opportunities for black people to see that will help to quell some of the fears, man. Like, you gotta show somebody the change that you want them to believe in. So with black
Yeah.
people, you can't just tell a black person who's inherently afraid of the police, like, nah, don't be afraid. It's only a few bad ones. You can't just do
Yeah.
that, bro. Like, you can't. You gotta show them some good ones. You heard me?
Yeah. And more along what you said, because I say where I live, there's a ton of cops. And, I'd imagine that the police officers that I know are good people. But the problem comes when those good people, don't say anything when the bad stuff is happening. They wait until there's a different excuse. Like, I've seen a lot of people, they only spoke once the rioting started happening. Then that's when they came out and be like, we all know that what happened with George Floyd wasn't good. Like, we can't deny that. But why are you rioting and destroying your neighborhoods and blah, blah, blah? But the correct thing would have been to come out right away and be like, hey, I'm an officer. I'm not okay with this. Regardless of whatever that outcome would have been, if you're out there from the beginning kind of making a statement, then you're showing, empathy, and you can gain trust of people, because you'd be like, hey, I understand why you're mad. I'm really upset about this too. But don't wait for an opportunistic time to then make your comment, where then you can rally people around. Somebody was talking about Corona being a PSA. So they said if you had to do a PSA for the world, hold on, let me actually read it. If you have to do a PSA for the world, would you have mentioned or played what you released thus far? This is.
Hey, if I had to do a PSA for the world, it would sound something like this. Listen. I just wanna love my brother and my sister like I'm supposed to. Spread love, get knowledge like I'm supposed to. Change the world, do my part, yeah, I hope to. Oh yeah, I hope to. Been a long time coming. Listen. I can feel it. Oh, yes, we will. Check it out. Oh, yes, we will. I would want the world to know this. No. I don't know if the world finna end, so I'm gonna play with the pad and the pen. They say we gonna be good, they don't know when. I just want things to be normal again. COVID-19, yeah, put us in a hole. Made us see we ain't really in control. Everybody going through a rich and poor. White, black, Spanish, Asian, it's so obvious that it's time to change and put love first and stop playing games and lift God up and say his name, cause we hard up and we feeling pain. Can't be the same when it's all over. And for George Floyd, he a fallen soldier, justice for all, that's a big task. I'ma die empty with a big class. I'm a true teacher with a big class. They gotta call in on me. That anointing falling on me. When they gonna stop stalling, homie? Gotta make your presence still now. Figure out who you can help now. Stay safe and protect your health now. Spread love is the new wealth now. Let's get it. I just wanna love my brother. That's what I tell him. That'd be my PSA to the world. Yeah.
It's almost like you had something prepared for that question.
Bro, like I'm sitting here, I'm balancing my phone on my laptop, and I got my my playlist pulled up because I'm in my studio. I was recording, and when somebody asked me that, I'm like, yo, actually, the song, and watch this, Jay. That song. I put it out like 2 weeks ago. It's called "Long Time Coming." So y'all go stream, download, watch the video, all that. But I started that song in November of last year, bro. Before any of this stuff. And it wasn't like we did the beat, we did the hook, but nothing was moving my spirit to put verses to it. So I just let it sit there with a dope beat and a dope hook. And then when coronavirus hit, and then Kobe Bryant got tragically killed. And he died in January. And then my grandmother passed February 7th, 2020. And then George Floyd. And at that moment, bro, that's when I was like, Lord, I think you rewarded my patience. You heard me. What up, Nate?
Nate Rose.
I think you rewarded my patience. You heard me. And now I have something compelling and convicting to talk about on this track. So that's where it came from. So that would be my PSA. That song is structured like a PSA to the world, bro.
How do you bring God to people? All right, that's the final question. How do you bring God to people?
How do you bring God to people? So you spread as much love as you can. You shine your light as bright as you can, and you give all the glory to God. When people are intrigued by man, why are you so thoughtful and so kind? And how do you spread so much love? Like you're so nice. And no, you take that opportunity, you take those moments, and you let people know it's only because of how much my God loves me. That's how you bring God to people, because they see God in you. They see God in you shining your light and using your slingshot, aka your gifts, for the purpose God designed them for. And when you put those gifts on display, and they're like, dang, you a dope rapper. Dang, Justin, you a dope editor. And when you use those opportunities to be like, yo, thank you, but honestly, God gave me this talent, and I'm just using it in the manner that God would be proud of and approve of. That's how you bring God to people, is you spread love and you shine your light in a way that stands out and that allows you to give God, all the glory. You heard me?
Bam, you got it.
There it is.
All right, bro. I appreciate you. We'll talk more about the song, in the coming days. But everybody, there's your exclusive. This song is coming, so spread the word. Make sure you support it. Make sure if you see anybody popping off in the wrong way in the comments, that you stand up for your boy Dee-1 right now, because you got to hear his heart behind it. So you can point them to this. This is going to be on Instagram. This will be on Facebook. To play back. Check out everyone else who was on here. We had Zar Josh. We had Selah the Corner. This is Community During Chaos. bringing together artists in the community to come up with solutions and answers to problems, and just saying, hey, this is good stuff that we could be doing, and hopefully inspire other people. My name is Justin Sarachik. You can follow me right there. There's my @ I know it seems weird, but it's very easy to spell. Follow Rapzilla everywhere. Dee-1, where can everybody follow you and get in touch with you?
So make sure y'all don't follow me. Make sure y'all follow God. And you know, you just keep up with me. But you can keep up with me at D1 Music. I just put it in the comments. DEE, the #1 music. You heard me? That's how we rocking.
All right, bro. Thank you for the time. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. And check us out next Monday. I'll be doing this same exact thing, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern.